Welcome to the final installment of this update series. These are a bunch of new cards being revealed, a bunch of cards being removed, on top of just card changes and balance changes, even hero changes. Now, sorry that this is not a PowerPoint, but I don't think I could talk about all of these as in depth, otherwise this video would also be like 2 hours long. So I'm going to try and keep it brief, short, but still give some insight and, you know, what I think of these cards. A quick break to tell you about the deck tracker that I've been using in all of my videos, and also the sponsor of this video, Firestone. Firestone is completely free and it does basically anything that you want it to do for Battlegrounds. From the normal stuff like seeing win percentages, tracking your opponent's boards, seeing what is in the lobby when it comes to tribes, being able to reposition your boards, re-simulate each fight from a previous battle so you can see all of your previous games and just completely overanalyze them. It tracks like how your performance is over a while. You can see, well, hero tier lists. You can see how your performance is on average with every hero. Please check out the link in the description if you want to try it out. I highly recommend it. Now, onto the video. Gonna start off with the completely new cards coming to Battlegrounds. These were revealed by Zeddy. First one is Ixxdeee Straight Shot, which is a tech card, a neutral 3/4 on Terran tier 4. Win free, Divine Shield. Whenever this attacks, remove a Reborn and Taunt from the target. So we see a way to counter Reborn, which will probably be necessary in the next meta because there's going to be a lot of Reborn stuff. I mean, that's the whole thing that Undead does. But also Taunt, which I think is interesting because you could lead with this into a cleave. And if people have taunted boards, let's say Froggers, Leapfroggers likes to play a couple taunts. You can just get rid of those taunts and then have a win-free cleave or just any win-free go in and snipe the Baron or snipe other important key cards. Yeah, I think if people are gonna play the horse on tier 5, like the big ass Reborn that comes back as, you know, the big ass card with the same stats, being able to remove Reborn from that is huge. Being able to remove Reborn from anything is pretty huge. Like a gas scorer that gets Reborn with the snake on tier 4. Why am I forgetting the name? You know what I'm talking about. Like, basically this will be a really good tech card if you know that your opponent has at least a couple of Reborns, or if you want to play around them having a taunt and you want to have a good cleave. So I think Ixxdeee Straight Shot, pretty important, and I'm happy to see at least one new tech being introduced in the game, especially with White Mane being removed. I think it's fine. I like it. Now, a dragon on tier 4, a 2/8 General Drakisi Suff. It's a battle cry that adds a 2/1 Smolder Wing to your hand that gives another dragon +5 attack. This is what the Smolder Wing looks like. So basically you have a 2/8. It gives you a 2/1 that gives +5 attack. So essentially this 2/8, if you use a 5 attack on it, it is a 7/8, which is a decent stat line on tier 4, and you have an extra 2/1 on it. It only costs 1 gold for that reason. It's a token, right? So you could compare this with any other token card. With Bran, this is completely free, so if you have Bran, you just pick this up. I think we're gonna see a bunch of big Bronze Wardens or any other dragon in a menagerie composition. You just have a Bran, you play your menagerie, find this card, and you for free get +10 attack onto it, which is a pretty big deal. In itself, I don't like the card like a whole lot. Like, on tier 4, it's a decent tempo thing. It's cute. It has some applications. It triggers 2 battle cries if you're playing a Kaligos comp, or if you want to cycle battle cries for whatever reason. This does that for you. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's flexible. It's cheap. It's really good with Gallywix, but it is not a dragon that you want to keep on your board. Like, this is just a dragon that you don't really plan on scaling itself necessarily, or to like look for in your composition to play to buff, but it's a nice tokenish buff thing. Yeah. Now Chronormu is a tier 4/4 for a dragon, and I really love the concept of this. This says, while this isn't Bob's Tavern, gain stats of any minions that you sell. So you roll a bunch, you find this guy in your tavern, and then you just sell whatever you have on your board, and all those stats will land there, kind of like you're playing the quest reward Anima Bribe or some sort of sick dancing Daryl. Now, keep in mind, it's just transferring stats onto a dragon. So let's say you're playing a Tavern Tipper or any other neutral or any card that you're buffing that you don't plan on keeping. You can put those stats on this then whenever you find it, and then you have it on a dragon, a random ass dragon. You can Divine Shield it with Nadina, you can pivot into Dragon Comp, or you can just have this, I guess. But don't get baited. I wouldn't just sell like actual good big cards to buff this. There's no reason to do that, but only if you are, you know, having stats on the board that you don't plan on keeping, but can make good use of a dragon because it's another tribe or it enables this or that. You know, I think it's nice. I think it has a lot of potential. And imagine if you roll 2 of these in your shop. I think both of them will get the stats. So you basically double your stats. Imagine making a big ball of minions. You know, you have a massive ball. You sell the ball. The stats of the ball go onto another card on the board. And the stats of the ball go into 2 Chronormus in the shop. Lots of value, lots of stats. So there's a lot of great ways that you could potentially cheat stats in the mid game. I like it. I think this is a nice card with some cool things to keep in mind. And then lastly, Baron got changed. So Baron is still a tier 5 1/7 neutral, but it is changed to Titus Riven there. I don't know why his name got changed. Maybe he got tired of it, or it's just a completely different person now. But your Death Rattles trigger an extra time. So instead of it saying your Death Rattles trigger twice, it triggers an extra time. And what this mainly means is that you can now play 2 Barons on the board. While previously, if you play 2 Barons, nothing happens because they both say your Death Rattles trigger twice. It doesn't stack. But this just says your Death Rattles trigger an extra time. So you could play a Baron, another Baron, and your Death Rattles will trigger an additional time. If you triple it, I think it just reads your Death Rattles trigger 2 extra times. So you could still play Golem Baron, then more I'll keep saying Baron. I know it's Titus, but I think I'm so hardwired to say Baron, I'm gonna keep saying it. I can't help it. But yeah, you can have a Golem one and then multiple of these. They should stack. Yeah, I think it's an okay change. Now let's get into some hero changes for now. There's 4 heroes being changed, I think. There's Galewing. I'm just gonna read what his hero powers do. The graphic isn't great, and I don't think I have an official graphic for it, so I hope this is okay. But it says, passive in 1 turn, give your leftmost minion +2/+2. That's 1 turn. The middle one is a passive in 2 turns, gain 2 gold. And the third one is a passive in 3 turns, discover a minion of your 7th tier. So that's just because the other option of leveling that takes like 5 turns was barely used. They just changed it a little bit around, and I like it. I think getting 2 gold in 2 turns enables some cool leveling curves or cool play patterns that you could do. While I think the discover in 3 turns is a staple that will still be picked quite often, because if you power level and then discover something that's still better than getting 2 gold, even though it is a turn earlier, I don't know. We'll see how people experiment with this and figure out different curves. Then we have Maleficent Mana Storm, the mech lady, and it's basically just whenever you summon a mech, you give a +2 attack. So this, I think, is also during combat, meaning you could play kind of a smoking gun comp. So you play like the Flectabots, a bunch of menaces, and all those tokens that summon that are mechs will get +2 attack in combat. So it's still just a hero that you force mechs with and that you hope you get good luck with, and some, enough tempo to stabilize and get a top 3. Now Jiraxis, I think this is one I'm most hyped about, because Jiraxis always had a very lame hero power. It is now 1 gold, choose a friendly demon, it consumes a minion in Bob's Tavern to gain its stats. So it basically is the picky eater effect on any demon that you choose for 1 gold. And I like that. Instead of just giving +1/+1 to some demons, you can now target a specific demon. It eats from the shop, so if you have a good shop, you could use this. And also there's ways to buff your shop, so you could play into this. I think it's nice, and I think it does fit a lot better with what demons are doing as well right now. Last hero is Pyramid, break by break, give a minion +1 health, gains +1 health each turn you don't use this. What? I think it just got nerfed, right? Instead of +2 health, it's +1 health. I think it's sad because Pyramid was like a good power level hero, was kind of mid-tier. I don't think it was oppressive. Yeah, sure, it is what it is. We also have 2 returning cards coming back into the game. Those are ixxdeee and Green Thumb, which I think a lot of people would be really happy about, because Green Thumb is a fun scaling card. It's a nice mid-game way to make your Divine Shields a little bit bigger. Another payoff for Avenge. So again, we will really be leaning heavily towards an Avenge meta. But ixxdeee in being as well. ixxdeee is a great card for Avenge. So I think we're gonna see a lot of use for both of these cards being back into the game now. There's also 2 more revamped cards. So we already had Baron going to Titus. 2 other cards that are changed are Ember Guardian. Now I think has start of combat, give another friendly dragon +2/+2 and Divine Shield. So I think it just got nerfed, that's it. And then Peggy is also changed. They just changed the name to Peggy Sturdy Bone and changed the art slightly. That's it. I don't really know what to think of these, but okay. Now on to some removed cards. These are actually quite a lot, quite significant. These made room for the dual type minions that are added into the game, and I think also the returning cards and other shenanigans. First one is Imprisoner being removed for ixxdeee then, which was a taunt Death Rattle summon 1/1. So we just got rid of a random taunt, doesn't really matter. For Icky Imp, which is honestly slightly better when going for more avenge stuff. Then Salt Skill Honcho, which is the free to Murloc, that whenever you play Murlocs, it gives extra health to your Murlocs on the board, which used to be a staple for a bit in the meta. You just found Honchos, cycled Murlocs, you had like decently sized high health Murlocs, then you find Toxfins and poison them, then Toxin was nerfed to tier 6. But yeah, Murlocs got some other things like the 4-drop and the 2-drop that scales whatever battle cry. So instead of just scaling high health now early on, you will see a little bit of a different playstyle happening with like making maybe some bigger Murlocs, focusing more on stats on a couple of guys. We'll see how it evolves. And then we also have Glyph Guardian being removed, which is kind of a random dragon. A little bit nice when you skilled it up because it doubles the attack, could clear some big dudes, but I don't think anyone is going to care too much about this leaving. Same with Yoho Ogre. I think it was a big ass stat to minion, like a 3/6 on tier 2, really huge. Also, it could counter some stuff. If you skill this, it's a taunt that attacks in once it's attacked in as well. So it actually was pretty decent against, let's say, Leapfroggers or Scalawag or stuff like that, because it was able to clear multiple things off the board pretty quickly. But again, not too significant. Those are very niche situations. Stasis Elemental, which was the free drop, again kind of like a filler card. It's just a random elemental, summons another elemental in the shop. It's good when you're playing Nomi because it allows you to find one more elemental quickly to cycle. It could also find you triples, it could find you good stuff, but yeah, I don't think this is gonna have too big of an impact either on the tribe. Now a card that I'm honestly super surprised to see leaving, that is Khadgar. So I know in my previous videos about undads and dual tribes and all the reborn stuff, I talked about Khadgar a lot and how broken this is going to be and how crazy, like the crazy combos you can do and the potential that Khadgar will have. But they took it out, so they don't even let me experiment with all this or us try out Khadgar with all these reborn shenanigans. It is just removed. So that is gonna change a little bit of how I'm gonna look at all of the reborn stuff, because you can't do those crazy combos again. Still, it's gonna be good. Reborn still has a place, of course, but yeah, just so you know that all those fantasies that I had are just that. They're fantasy, they're fake. Bonker is a tier 4 3/7. Yeah, we all know what Bonker is. That is removed, so a little bit scared about that because that means that power leveling got worse. They introduced a bunch of new 4-drops. They're kind of some 4-drops for Undead, for example, were pretty okay, but the dual tribe 4-drops were kind of iffy, if I remember correctly, like the Murloc, the 1/1 elemental Murloc. So I'm a little bit scared that 4-on-4 won't be as valuable anymore, especially with Avenge being good. With Avenge being good on lower tiers, it's good to find the Reborns, the Icky Imps, things like that, and then triple into an early 4 to hit Witchwing, for example. Again, we'll have to see what people decide to go for. Maybe 4-on-4 is still good because you can set up for Revenge better. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Now, Major Domo, another 4-drop that was okay. Good tempo, helps you stabilize. Removed. So I'm a little bit scared for this. This might also be removed because of the 1/1 Murloc Elemental, because it's kind of the same concept a little bit. But yeah, this again was decent if you hit it early. And allows you to scale up a big Deflectobot, a big Hydra, or a big Cyclone. It was more like useful for comeback situations or for tempo compositions whenever you were not high rolling, so you at least could make a couple big cards that can value trade or can have an impact. So that being removed means maybe more high roll again 4-on-4, not as great. But they also removed Draconid Enforcer, which is the trashy tier 4 dragon that gains stats whenever a shield is popped. I don't think anyone played with this card. I never played with this card. I don't think anyone cares that this is gone, so goodbye. Mikado Tank, the tempo 4-drop that a lot of people find toxic, including myself, is also gone. This wasn't an amazing target when you go 4-on-4, because you can't really trigger the Avenge as well unless you hit like a Ring Matron with it, for example, or other Death Rattle cards. But yeah, this was a way to stabilize again or to do a lot of damage to people early on. This was not an endgame composition. You rarely see Mikado Tanks win or even get top 2 or top 3. They need more tools. Max needs to find a Mega Buster, things like that. So this being gone, you know, is removing even more tempo from tier 4. Baby Curse as well, probably making room for the other beasts undead on tier 5, the horse. I'm just gonna call it horse. I keep forgetting the name. Yeah, so I don't think Baby Curse again was a great tempo triple, was nice with Mama Bear, allows you to stabilize pretty quickly. But the other 5-drop is a little bit less tempo initially, but has way more payoff later on if you can buff it, or if you can make a nice composition around it. So I think that's fine. Now, Interrogator Wide Main, the card that I talked about being gone, is a tech card that taunts the opposing minion and is allowing it to take double damage, mainly used to counter frogs or ixxdeee or any competition that plays Baron. So that being gone and Baron being changed to Titus, if I remember correctly, will allow for again more crazier competitions. Even Avenge can't really be sniped with this anymore, but we have the tech card that removes taunts, right? The first card of review today, so that way you could still snipe backline cards. It's gonna be interesting, but yeah, so just keep in mind that this is removed if you're still looking for this to counter certain builds that need combo pieces like Leapers. It's not there anymore. Also, Razorgore, the tier 5 dragon, was kind of meh. It could become a pretty big body, but it's removed and changed by a way better dragon in my opinion, the Divine Shield one that gives plus 10 attack to other Divine Shield cards, not just dragons. I think that's way better than Razorgore was, a way bigger tempo spike, better menagerie unit, and even better if you just go full dragons. It doesn't scale itself anymore to a reasonable size, but I think it definitely makes up for that with all of the other attributes that it has. Pale Skill Crocolisk, this is actually kind of a big deal because this was important for tempo beast comps to stabilize. We now got, well, the other beast on tier 6, the beast demon, the dinosaur, forgot his name again, but I don't think, like, Crocolisk might arguably be almost better. No, not better, I can't say it's better, but Crocolisk was nicer to hit, like Mambear Crocolisk, a bunch of death rattles. It was so synergetic, it's such a staple of tempo beasts. And now adding this other 6-drop with an effect that I don't think is making up for Crocolisk being removed. I think Beasts, Tempo Beast is going to be in a pretty rough spot. I think it's better to just not focus on it too much, yeah, without Crocolisk. Also, Tony Tusk removed. So remember what I said about APM Pirates already being easy to do and Pirates already being easy to golden. Well, Tony removed. This was an Avenge card, so they actually took out an Avenge card as well. And I guess the Mikado Tank was also an Avenge card. But we have the 6-drop now, the Naga Pirate, that has a spell that makes something golden. So I think that is supposed to make up for 22 Tusk being removed, but it's a higher tier. So going APN might actually be harder. I said APN was already really easy to do, but without Tony, you would need that 6-drop, or you would have to get really lucky and find multiple Hoggers very quickly, which, I mean, finding 4 Hoggers is not something you just instantly do most of the time. Or unless you have a hero power that helps, like Reno or Varden, you know, you could try and force it. But it's a pretty big deal, Tony being gone. APM Pirates is still gonna exist. You will still see it win lobbies, but gonna be less easy to force. Last card is Imp Mama, the demon, the big boy or big girl on tier 6. She is gone, so one less demon that you can skill, but I don't think it matters too much. You still have Fellbat, you can still skill different demons. And Mama wasn't really that, I mean, it's kind of okay in the end game. It summons little dudes that can bump shields. It could deal more damage to your opponents. It has a use case. But it being gone, I don't think will impact demons too heavily, because they still got some decent tools to work with right now. Also, they got the Demon Beast on tier 6, but again, I don't really care about that guy. I think that's it. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this short recap. Now, a short reminder again, I will be live in a couple hours from this upload with the Terry Craft, or the stream where content creators get to try out the cards early. So I'll just take a look at what people are doing, what is working, what isn't, gonna spectate them and give commentary. So I hope to see you there, so don't forget to subscribe if you're new, or like this video if you enjoyed it. And thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.